Well, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amalia Asokawati from Big A 6th semester. And in this video, I'm going to explain about Old English literature as a final project of Introduction to Literature. So this is the timeline of English literature and English language, start from Old English until modern English. But our main focus in this video is about the Old English literature. So, Old English language is also known as Anglo-Saxon, and it begins on 600 until 1100 AD. So the first point that I'm going to talk is about the people. Anglo-Saxons were Teutonic tribes that came to the Roman province of Britannia from Germany and French, which was later called England. And with them came several closely related Germanic languages that would evolve into Old English. And the Anglo-Saxons, the people, loved war and also fight fierce battles, but they also enjoyed singing and merrymaking. What about the religion? Anglo-Saxons worshipped pagan and hidden gods like earth and also heaven and the power of nature. And the doing of these powers were made into mythical stories. And when a great hero arose, his story also grew into a saga. And this was the origin of old stories. Now let's move to the important point is about the literature of Old English Old English period. So Anglo-Saxons were adventurous people, and hence their war songs are about hidden gods and also about words and nothing about Christianity. For example, is the Battle of Maldon that tells us about the battle between Danish pirates and Earl of Maldon. And the next topic is about the Anglo-Saxon poetry characteristic and types. So the first one is about the types of Anglo-Saxon poetry. Anglo-Saxon poetry consists of personal and elegiac poems, also known as sad poems written about death, and also war songs and riddles and epic poems. And about the characteristic of Anglo-Saxon poetry, this poem reflects their beliefs in the performance of war and bravery, courage, immortality, revenge, and glorious death. And the description of sad events and also cruel situation are more common than happiness, and they strongly believed that fate determines all. And the next is about an epic. What is an epic? An epic poem is a very famous in Old English Old English literature. It is long, serious. A poem that tells us about a story, that tells us about the story about an important event like war, often about the adventures of a great man fighting an enemy in the battlefield. So the example of an epic is and the ancient Greek Iliad and the Odyssey, and also Dante's Divine Comedy and John Milton's Paradise Lost are the example of an epic in Old English. Now let's move to the next topic. Another important topic is about the characteristic of Old English literature. So what is the first characteristic? The first characteristic is Old English linguistic characteristic. Old English linguistic is a very elevated linguistic style. And the second is they used alliteration. What is alliteration? An alliteration is two or more words that beginning with the same sound. For example, Peter, Peeper, Peter, Peeper, picked a pack of pickled peppers. It has the same sound in the beginning. And the third characteristic, they also used a rhyme. So what is a rhyme? A rhyme is two or more words that end with the same sound. For example is, my cat likes to chase a mouse. That is the first line, and the second line is, especially when that's in the house. So the first line end with the word house. So the first line end with the word mouse, and the second line end with the word house. It has the same sound, house and mouse. And the last characteristic is they used metaphors to describe things. Now let's move to the last point. Is about the famous work in Old English literature. So the answer is Beowulf. Beowulf is the most famous works in Old English period. So Beowulf, the story of Beowulf, it tells us about the story of a great hero of the Geats in Scandinavia that later becomes the king of the gods after defeat his enemy. I think that's all for me. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.